Good morning, friends. Happy Monday. I have an adorable project for you all today. You've seen me make things for my granddaughter and my grandson, but we actually have a grandson on the way that'll be here in June, and I thought maybe I'd work just a little bit ahead. So I'm going to change the cameras around and show you what I mean by that. So I participate in a group with several other demonstrators, and each month we create a tutorial, and that gets combined into a collection of about 16 tutorials, and then we share that with our customers who place orders during the month. So the theme this month was for a baby or kid's birthday, and I made this card for my friend Donna's first baby, her first grandbaby. His name is Wyatt, and he was born on Friday, and I thought this was too cute. So we're going to make this card again, and I'm going to save it for my grandson Nolan, who's going to be born in June. So we are going to use Peekaboo Farm is the stamp set that the animals came from, and we're going to use Turtle Friends and grab this Hello Little One from it. And the dies that we're using, this is called Picture This. Makes these fun little cutouts. And then we're going to use the Stitch So Sweetly and grab this one. And we're actually going to make this card start to finish. I didn't do any prep work ahead of time other than have my card to go on. This layer is Misty Moonlight. This wood grain is from the In Good Taste Designer Series paper. This ribbon, this cotton ribbon, is from the New Horizons collection, which is in the mini catalog. Everything else is in the annual catalog today. We do have some dimensionals in play. I think you can see them there. And some blends. And we've got the natural tone blends here, as well as the black and ivory, everything else. So I use the ivory on the pig and the black here in the cow and some of the hooves. Oh, this is smoky slate down here on the pig's hooves. But fun card and super cute. So don't be intimidated by this. I went back and forth a million times on what I was going to show you today. And so I'm going to start with a piece of, and okay, even though this is not going to be pretty, I'm going to show you a little bit more of my desk space so that you can capture a little bit more of the tools that I'm using. So I pulled out our trimmer. Okay, so I pulled it this way. This is what it would look like. It has an arm that extends out. And I can see I'm going to need to adjust my camera when I do my my next basic videos. So I've got inches as well as centimeters marked off, and the increments between. I've got 8ths and 16ths. I'm going to go ahead and score this at 5.5 because I can score once, cut once, and create 2 card bases at once. So cutting now at 4.25. The trimmer has 2 blades, and the darker one is your cutting blade and the lighter one is your scoring blade. It is one of the amazing features of this trimmer. Now I need a piece of Misty Moonlight and a piece of Basic White they're going to be the same size. So we're going to cut them at 5.25 by 4. Your blades cut both ways and score in both directions. Okay, so this is the one we need for that. And then our Basic White, we'll need it to be 5.25 by 4. And we're going to need some scraps of Basic White, and we're going to need a little bit of that In Good Taste paper as well. Let me see where I put it. And I know without a doubt that some of the things I need are not on this desk. And this can be a little bit smaller. I liked this because it looked a little barn wood to me. I'm going to go ahead and cut it to 5 1/4 by 4, and then I'll have pieces that I can, well, you know what? Maybe we'll decide we like it the reverse, and we'll use, I don't know, let's give that a whirl. We'll try that out. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is, after we've trimmed or cut our pieces out, we need to go ahead and create the cutouts, okay? So I'm gonna grab the cut and emboss machine. That's gonna make a noise. Sorry, I didn't have enough hands to prevent that. So this is the larger of the cut and emboss machine. A lot of times during our videos I share the mini, but this piece is 4 inches wide, and that is wider than the mini. So I have the number 1, the cutting plate. Then I have number 2, which is a shim, for lack of a better term. That's not what they call it, but that's basically what we're doing. We're creating a little bit more thickness than we need for embossing, because the dies are thinner than the embossing folders. This does not have to be perfect. So I'm going to roll this through. And yeah, things are sliding around a bit on my table. I apologize for that, but it is what it is. And I'm going to save these circles. If you saw the nuts and bolts class that Hope and I had in February, then you remember you used your circles on another card, and your frame on one card and your circles on another. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to also do it in the wood grain. And just like your trimmer blades go back and forth, your cut and emboss machine does as well. I try to do this a lot with my left hand because I tend to get tendonitis in my right elbow, not my hand. All right. Oh, and as long as I've got this over here, why don't I go ahead and cut a little scrap of white. Okay. Scrap of white with the stitched so sweetly dies. That's a photopolymer stamp, so I should be able to line it up pretty well. And then our die cutting, I believe, is going to be done for us. The hooves do get cut out, but they're fussy cut. And that would have been a great, that's die cutting that we just did to create this little label. That would have been great for the mini, but I already had the big one out. Clear it off its table. I've been doing quite a bit of organizing in my space, and so things do have their place now. All right, so now let's go this way. And we just need one card base, so I'll set that over there. Don't lose my label. Punch those out. And now, you know what? We might need to cut a second piece of these, because unless these are in the same place, which, you know, the likelihood of that is going to be really rare. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a second piece of white so that we can trace our animals twice. I think that'll make sense in just a moment. Those circles over there. Get my dies out of the way. Alright, we want this to be, this should be 5 1/4 and by 4. So we could end up with 2 cards out of this. So I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to lay this like a grid, and we'll call this one, I'm just going to label this up here in the corner that'll be hidden, because I don't want to get them mixed up. And I could put that on the back, but it's not going to show, so I'm okay with it there. Alright, I'm just going to lightly trace the 3 largest circles, and that will help me place my stamps when we get there. And we're going to do the wood, just see how we like this. Now that white could be a little smaller, but probably not until after you've done this part. Okay, let's set those aside for a moment and finish with my pencil. I will need to come back and erase these lines, but I don't need to do that right now. Okay, so I stamped the cow, the horse, and the pig from this little stamp set. And I'm going to do them again. They're my favorites. Although the little ram is pretty cute. They're all pretty cute. And I want to do this rock wall too. I might do something on the inside with it. Alright, so let's start with the pig. I'll try my best not to get my hair in the way. And I want to stamp him inside the circle. Watching to see if my head's in the way. But I want his hooves to be just outside the circle. So can you see enough of that to tell that his ears are just at the edges and his hooves are just outside? Of course, he's not inked up yet, so that's the goal, though, is to get them cut. So I'm going to ink this up with the Tuxedo Memento Black because I'm coloring this with Stampin' Blends. If I were coloring this with like a blender pen and ink or my watercolor pencils, I would need to use StazOn ink. The way that the colors work together. Oh goodness, that's amazing. Now, what I didn't take into account when I stamped my cow and my horse was the tail that each of them had and whether I wanted that in or not. And in looking at some other samples, they had tucked the horse's tail like right in, we're going to call it his neck, and the same thing with the cow, just right here. So I might want to put them a little farther one way or the other to try and accommodate that look. I think mine are fine, but there's no reason not to try to do it just a little differently. I didn't bring any other blocks over, so I'm just going to swap out. I will do the horse next. And, oops, should do it this way. And I'm going to take that horse a little farther to the left on this one. Of course, I should have stamped, I'm already assuming that we're going to do this in the wood because I only, oh my goodness. Well, maybe that's just as well. We've got the Misty Moonlight one already ready. This way we can see what we like about, if we like the wood. Okay, so first goal is to get the hooves out of the picture, and then his tail. I'm so sorry, I cannot tell if my head is in the camera or not. That's about as far left as I could really take it. So I've kind of worked it out so that we're not going to do the Misty Moonlight one on camera. We're going to do the one that we have the barn looking frame. Here's our cow. And we want her tail to tuck in on her left. You guys can see. So I'm going to bring her right, and there's just really not much room here without cutting an ear off. She fills that circle. Okay. I think that's it for you. And I can go ahead and move that Misty, the one that we've called Misty. All right, so now we need their hooves and their tails. So we'll just grab, let's move that out of the way. Keep that there. So you can kind of see. All right, so this is the little cow's tail, and I still can't really tuck it in here fully, but I do think that it will look better if I bring it down. So even if I cut it off, I think I'm better off to cut it off and bring it down. Okay, so it is definitely outside the circle just a little bit. Next, cow. I love working with the photopolymer. This is faster than it would be. If we were doing this with a red rubber stamp, we would need to work with the Stamparatus for all these pieces. And then I've cut off part of that tail as well, so it's out of frame. Of them when I was stamping them. I just took a piece like this. There's the pig. The photopolymer stamps could tear. I've never torn one, but I'm pretty careful when I take them out or put them back to gently lift. And I'm inking up just the bottom, just the hooves as much as I can. And what I didn't do on this one, as well as I think I could have, was angled their hooves. I don't think that they quite got the angle that I think they would have looked better if they had been turned a little bit instead of, they're quite straight on. Okay, so we will color and fussy cut those. As you can see, so I kind of just pick up the edge and then roll it to pick it all up rather than just lift and pull. The goal is to not tear. All right, so we still have a stamping of our label, but I'm going to leave that, and it's off camera, I think. All right, so now let's do this coloring. I've got a bunch of colors over here. I'm going to start with the cow, and I did the cow in Chic-Fil-A. That's really not what we see so much around where we live, but well, okay, we see the Chick-fil-A cows a lot. Okay, so I just realized I mixed up the lids on my markers, so it's a good thing that the labels already also tell me what color is what, because this is actually the light. So I'm going to start with the dark basic black, and I'm going to color in, start with the tail. And I am working with the bullet end. And if I were not trying to show you the coloring, I would pull this much closer to me so that I could see the light and the dark a little bit better. Not a tremendous amount of difference in the black. I think the horse gets the most fun coloring of all. Now I did just a little bit of white around the cow's eye. And I have to admit, it is difficult to color and talk. If my dad had known that when I was growing up, he would have had me coloring all the time. There's a kid outside right now that's quite vocal about something. It's a nice day. I'm guessing that they're headed to the little park that we have. We have swings. So too cute there. And then I did, okay, it's like, how did I lose my cap? Now I did something on the little horns. I took a color lifter. I want the light smoky slate, and I just added a little bit of color there, and then I pushed it around with the color lifter to lighten it out. We do this with, say, if we want to create gray hair, like for Santa, we might want to add a little bit of color, and I'm fairly careful not to go too close to the lines, because I can make it bleed and feather, and this is actually trying to do that a little bit. So, all right, then she also needs kind of a pink snout. So I'm going to use the new natural tone. This is the color number 1000. The higher the number, the lighter the color. And I'm not really trying to do any real shading here. Now she's got kind of a pink looking snout. Isn't she cute? All right, let's jump down and do the pig. And I did the pig in ivory the first time, which I thought kind of, you know, before we had the natural tones, I would have said that, you know, this is plenty pink. But now that we have the natural tones, and I think I went over the line there. Okay, I'm going to just come in with the color lifter just a little bit and see if I can maybe erase some boo-boo. And I am working very gently with the brush end of the marker, kind of turning my image to stamp around the lines. Now, one thing I did see from the first one that I did was it might have been helpful for the pig and the horse to have a little more color down below the lines, because it is going to be on dimensionals, and I don't want there to be a break. So I'm going to go ahead and color just a little bit lower. I did color their hooves a little bit the first time, but I didn't color any of their body. Now, I've just laid down one layer of color and it's not blended at all. So in order to get a blending effect, I need to lay down multiple layers. And amazingly enough, I can get, with just this single color blend, I can create that depth. Don't have to have two different colors. And I probably should have switched to the bullet end. So what I'm doing now is I've just laid down more color to create the blend. And now I'm going to add a little bit of dark over on this left side so that he's not so flat. And I'm going to come back with that color 1000 and add a little bit of pink in his ear, in each ear, and I'll do his snout pink as well. So there you can see him. Okay, and then for the horse, we'll start with the black again. So I've got the dark basic black and the light basic black. I'm going to start with the dark and his tail. And notice I'm coming outside of the lines for that too, because I want it to look like he's just peeking out of the hole. He should have, more body parts. And the only real not a whole lot of blending I can do on his tail with black. I might have a little bit of light there and there. And then we have his mane that's peeking out over here. And I think I'm just going to might in a few minutes add some lightness to it. Okay, then back to this front part of his mane. And not trying to make excuses for any poor coloring, but it's not easy to color like this. So we are, my goodness, at the last week of February, which means that coming up, this is the last week of celebration, the first celebration for 2022. You can still, if your wish list is over $100, then your best value is to purchase a starter kit. You don't have to do demonstrations, you don't have to hold classes, you don't have to do videos. You can be what we call a discount shopper for yourself and enjoy the benefits of being a demonstrator. I think that's the black. And right now there's a special that for $99 you'll pick $125 in merchandise plus any 2 stamp sets that are current in the annual or mini catalog. I don't know what to do. If you opted to just place a $100 order, you're more than welcome to do that, and you'll pick celebration items for free. It's a special brochure. And all of that wraps up at the end of February. So it did his little, whatever that part is, quite a bit lighter than the last time. And so see, this one is going to be a little bit darker than that one. Goodness. You can blend these to make all kinds of fun colors. For blending, you want to color small areas, relatively small areas, and keep moving before the ink has time to really dry and settle. So this time, yep, I went all the way around with what I think is going to be my darker color. And then as I add more layers, we'll see that start to smooth out. And we'll see the color deepen. Now I'm leaving this area white in the middle because I want that to be the lightest part. So now I'm going to come back with the color I used here in the middle and kind of go over that. So I need enough color so that it blends, but enough difference that I still leave some highlighting. And then I can leave that alone to dry and then always come back and add if I want to. Okay, so that's all of them. And I've done a little bit past the lines on those. Let's go ahead and take the black and do their hooves here, so that should any of this peek out, it's going to look black also. It's going to look like it's colored. But we will actually cut color and fussy cut from our scraps. And on the pig, I just, not for any particular reason, but I used gray instead of black. Okay. Well, since that cap doesn't want to go on, we'll just go ahead and color our little pig's feet. And this is smoky slate, so I did a little dark on the bottom. So giving that a little, oh, I'm sorry, I was a little off camera. And then we have the horse and the cow. So back to black. And so you can kind of see how these are curved a little bit. I want to place them, I want to remember to place them that way when I cut them out. So as long as I have you captive, I've been meaning to ask what it is that you all would like to see in my videos as well as in my classes. I am working on parts of the March schedule are already set, but there are other parts that I'm working on right now. One of those is my card club, which is a product-based class, and it is offered as a membership, which has extra benefits. And typically it is a bundle, and that comes with, you know, just matching coordinating designer series paper, ribbon, and embellishments. It doesn't have to. I can always pick a stamp set that doesn't have it and then coordinate some paper with it. Those little guys really didn't get any shading at all this time. Let's see if we can add some with the color lifter. The color lifter is something that you don't see right away make a difference. All right, it's time to see how we like these two together. I think that's kind of fun. And then we can add the blue inserts with it. Okay, I kind of like this. So let's keep going. All right, the next thing that we need to do is actually to erase our lines. And my eraser, my good eraser, is over here. So these mono erasers you can get at Amazon, and they're excellent for so many things. They even helped me clean up a boo-boo of ink. I think that was on a video a week or so ago, so you might have already seen that. Might have already rushed out and gotten your eraser, but I'm being very light. I don't want to, especially on my little cow that doesn't have any color on the white parts. There's no color to cover that. And the pig that has light color down here. All right, I think that's okay. Now, I used dimensionals, and a bunch of them. Okay, I used a bunch of dimensionals to provide the lift. I would never, well, I probably wouldn't use as many on a regular card base, but I need to come around each of the circles. And I do not necessarily have to use all of these for stick, but I might. We'll just see. The ones I did first were the middle ones because I wanted to get this in place. So I just kind of came around. So that might be off just a little bit, but I think it's okay because I can come along even with scissors and trim down any part that might show if I had scissors over here. So you can see I'm coming just between the two. Oops. There we go. And then I'll come back. And peel the backings off the rest. And there they are. And I can, so my little blue circles are going to come in here. Now I need glue. And while I want that to get a little tacky, I can cut out my hooves. I'm coming pretty close. Oops, I'm so sorry. So that's the other tricky thing is, oh, and I should have done that. These are not so easy to fussy cut because you always want to be turning your paper, not your scissors. There's not a lot to hold on to turn. Okay. And then see, I was tempted to do it again. I need to. This little eraser that I used is really good for picking up any stray glue after it dries as well. So quite handy. You'll find those on Amazon. Now after the end of this, I will create a blog post over at michellesalcho.com, and I'll have a replay of the video as well as some photos and a complete recipe card or supply list so that should you want to purchase anything I've shared with you today, you can. And then I always appreciate your comments and your sharing. This will be shared to Facebook as well. All right, and let's see if we can get this little pretty cute. Okay, so then, okay, forgive my head for just a second. Go ahead and add if those are not completely wet, it'll be a little bit easier to stick down. I can't remember which ways. So this is the horse hooves. Now it'll take me a little time to do my blog post for a couple of reasons. I've got a few other commitments today, and I think I want to try and do something with that rock wall. So don't jump over there right away. Well, you can jump over there right away, but you won't find this one. You'll find previous posts. You'll also find posts of my upcoming classes that you can register for. Bingo registration is open. It is a Zoom bingo for March, and then an in-person bingo in April. The value of the prizes is determined by the number of participants. And we need at least 12 to play. We can have somewhere between 25 and 30 that play. There's that, and then we just need to get the little cow. And then we'll adhere that to the card base. So I did not do dimensionals again. I only have dimensionals on the wood grain layer and the white. I'll glue the white down to the white card base. If anybody can think of a better way to fussy cut this, I'm open to suggestions. Because it's not easy to hold on to this little guy. I have not stamped my greeting yet, so I'll need to do that. Go. All right, I think those all look okay. Let's stamp the greeting on this little label. And that again comes from Turtle Friends. And it is "Hello, little one." And I'll stamp that in Misty Moonlight. You couldn't do that with a red rubber. And then we'll put this on a dimensional. And pop it right here. Tie a bow with this cotton ribbon. This cotton ribbon is so soft that I think it actually is not the easiest to tie a great bow with. And then do a blue dot. Help help you in any way. If you have questions about Celebration, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be glad to help you place an order that either qualifies you for Stampin' Up! Or for Celebration rewards, or help you place that starter kit order so that you can truly maximize the value. So have a great day. Have a great week, everybody. I'll be back on Wednesday on Facebook for our Facebook Live. Take care. Bye-bye.